Good morning, heathens. So this morning I'm going to do just a short little get ready with me, makeup that makes me feel good, everyday type look. So what that essentially means is this is going to be like obviously my everyday type makeup. So kind of minimal, understated, something that I would just throw on either before work or to go run errands, which is, oi, my neck hurts, which is what I'm about to be doing. I've got to run to the grocery store, get a few things that we did not get during our grocery trip. So I just want to throw on something, but these are products that are tried and true for me, things that make me feel good. So as a disclaimer, beginning of this video, I am not going to be putting on any blush or bronzer because those are products that, while I am trying to get into, can still make me a little self-conscious, a little uncomfortable. I'm not fully versed in how to use them properly. So I just want to give that disclaimer. I'm not going to have those products in this video. It's not because they're not good products. It's not because I don't have ones that I like, but I don't necessarily put them on and immediately feel great, whereas some of these I really do. So I'm gonna start off with a little balm. Unfortunately, this is not made anymore. I would love, 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 love for them to bring this collection back. This was from the ColourPop Crystal collection. This is the Crystal Lip Balm in Amber. I love this stuff so, so much. I wear it on like no makeup days, or sometimes I'll even put it on before going to bed. It's just very soothing. It has the slightest tint of color, as you can see. But it's just very comfortable. It feels nice on the lips. So first, I'm gonna take these off. I've obviously crimped my hair today, which also makes me feel good. So going along with that theme, I'm going to go ahead and put on my Benefit The Professional Pearl Primer. This is just a mini. It's oil-free, lightweight, silky, and soft pink. I don't necessarily know that it does a lot, but it feels good. So this is one that when I do want to use a primer, so like I go back and forth on primers, whether or not they make a difference. But I know that my makeup still sits fine over this one. That spot on my forehead is not acting up too bad this morning, so I've got one dot on each finger. I'm going to put one on each cheek, a little up here, and a little on my nose. And then I'm just going to press it into my skin, particularly focusing on my cheeks and right around my nose, because that is where my pores are the worst and where I need a little bit of help. And then I'm going to take whatever's left on my finger and go across my chin as well, because while my chin doesn't necessarily get oily, I do find that foundation starts to break up rather quickly around my chin, and I want to try to avoid that. So now while this sets in, I'm going to take my, where is it? Here it is. My CoverGirl Ready Set Gorgeous Concealer in the shade Light. And I'm going to use this as eyeshadow primer. I would usually use the, which this one is still, you know, a tried and true. I'm comfortable using this one. I would usually use the Shop Miss A, what is it called? Shadow Perfect or Eye Perfect primer that I have, but I could not locate it this morning. I don't always use a primer for my eyeshadow, but if I'm going to, these are two of the ones that I reach for. So I figured I'd give them a little shout out in this video, because unlike the bronzer and blush situation, they don't make me feel strange to use. They're just not something that I would reach for every single day. So I think my most tried and true everyday palette that can go from super simple to kind of glam is the Give It To Me Straight palette by ColourPop. This is a gorgeous, kind of like warm toned, but gorgeous nude palette. It's got some nice cool shades in it, but these are amazing. Definitely hands down one of my favorite palettes of all time, and one that I reach for very regularly. So I'm going to go in first with Matter of Fact, and I'm going to use this to kind of set down the primer and put it all over everything. And it's pretty similar to my skin tone, so you're not going to see it a whole lot, but I find that putting this one down over a base like that does make it a little easier to blend everything else on. So like I said, we're just ever so gently doing that. Okay, now I'm going to take the same brush that I was just using, and I'm going to go in with Truth Hurts down here in the corner. It's another kind of nude brown. I'm going to tap off the excess, and this is what I'm just going to start to work into the crease. And now I am going to use a shimmer in this look, but you definitely don't have to. I'm going to use one that's a little more subtle. Do you see the dry patch on the end of my nose? That is so obnoxious. I'm going to do something about that. But there are definitely shimmers in here that, when used in certain ways, can be amped up a little bit more. I'm going to go in with the Curel Dry Skin Therapy. I'm going to take just the smallest amount because it's just for the tip of my nose, because I don't want to bring it too far because I don't want it to interact with the foundation in a negative way. So I'm just going to take on that dry skin and just smooth this over the edges. When my sinuses act up really bad, the skin around my nose is super dry because I'm constantly sneezing and blowing my nose and wiping my nose and all that. I'm sure anyone else with allergies can relate. I'm so sorry. I'm going to go back in to that same color so that I can do the other eye. I think my only complaint about that palette is that it does not have a mirror. So I do have to switch between, you know, holding the palette, dipping into a color, and then using the mirror. Now when I'm in the bathroom getting ready, I don't have that issue because obviously I have the mirror on the, what is it called? Like the bathroom mirror that opens and you store stuff in. There's a word for that that is escaping me. I'm just taking that same color again and just building up both sides just a little bit. All right, now I'm going to take, again, same brush, and I'm going to go in with the color right above that one, which is Frank. I keep hitting the wall with my mirror, and I'm really sorry. If you keep hearing that thud, it's not somebody outside. It's me not knowing the width of my space. I'm going to have to rearrange at some point and see if I can't figure something else out. But I'm just going to take this and gently tap under that last shade and then lightly through the crease, just building up the slightest bit of dimension, but I don't want it to be too much darker because I want this look to be very seamless and smooth. But I am taking it from outer to inner corner. And then I'm going to tap in and do the same thing with the other eye, just kind of patting it across before gently blending. The other eye is a little more blended, so I'm going to add a little bit more to the top. There we go. And for anyone wondering, this is an Araceli gentle blending brush. and I really enjoy it because it's fluffy and not super dense, but it doesn't like fling product around. It like holds it pretty well. So this is what we are looking like before adding the shimmer on. And then for shimmer, for this particular look, I would like to go in with this shade, which is Straight Up. And I'm just going to take it on my finger. Very, very gorgeous shimmer. And I'm going to add that to the spot on my eyelid where there is no shadow. And I'm just gently patting it so that I can blend it over the adjoining shades. And I am putting it all the way to the inner corner, but not all the way over that deeper shade on the edge. And it just gives this nice shine, but without being really overwhelming. So I find that some shimmers can almost be distracting in a look like this if you're going for something a little more simplistic. And a good example of that, in my opinion, is going to be the shade right underneath it, which is Forthright. Because it's a little thicker, so it's got a little bit more glitter. So I'm gonna take what's left of this shade on the back of my hand to show you. It's just got a nice sheen, and then the one beside it, you can see the glitter beside my hand a little bit. I find that even though it's not like overly shimmery, just because it's a little thicker, it can be, I don't know, it just detracts a little bit from the look. Now, if I'm going for a deeper look, I'll definitely use that color, but I find for this look, this is perfect. All right, now I'm going to jump straight into brows, which I'm not going to use a brow pencil. The brow gel that I would normally reach for has Runaway, which is my ColourPop brow gel. So I'm going to use what's left of this little Gimme Brow, and I don't even remember what shade it was in, but I'm just going to add the slightest bit of tint to my brow hairs just to make them stand out. I have been using an eye pencil recently. I've been jumping between the Mellow Cosmetics and Chocolate and the oh my gosh, e.l.f. brow pencil in the shade Taupe. I was like, I don't know how I forgot this brand's name. I see it in my head. I don't know how I forgot e.l.f. I just had a complete brain fart. And see, it doesn't do like a whole lot. It just adds a little something. Now, foundation. I've been using this really regularly ever since I did the video testing it. This is the Rimmel London Lasting Finish 25-Hour Breathable Longwear Foundation. Mouthful. In the shade 100 Ivory. And you're supposed to gently shake it before use, and it actually has a doe foot applicator. But what I'm going to do is do one side at a time, because for some reason this foundation tends to kind of dry down pretty quickly. So see, it's got this nice doe foot, but like I said, it dries down kind of quickly. So if I don't blend one side together fast enough, then I wind up with kind of dark streaks in the makeup where that line was placed, where it hasn't fully blended out into the rest. So this foundation I do one side at a time. I didn't notice it during my original try-on video, but I have noticed it each time using it since. And at first I was afraid that the brush that I was using just wasn't blending it out properly. So I had switched brushes, I had tried a sponge, and then I just found out that it was just where I was setting it down. It just wasn't blending out, whereas like I'm sure you can see, this blends out pretty quickly, pretty easily, as long as you're doing it one side at a time. But yeah, I rather enjoy this foundation. It's not very full coverage. It covers just what I would like it to, if that makes sense. It's not, like, if you're a full coverage queen, probably not the best foundation for you. But if you're okay with more light to medium coverage, then I would suggest giving it a try if you can find one that matches your skin well enough. I'm not sure how many shades are in the range, because when I got mine, it was actually, I don't remember if it was CVS or Walgreens or where I was, but it was marked down, and so there were only a few shades even in stock, and I got really lucky that they even had my shade. It may have been when my local Kmart was closing. Anyway, so I did not get to really look through the full range, but I think I got kind of lucky with my shade. It may not be the most perfect match, but it's pretty damn close for, you know, just everyday wear. I'm trying to make sure I get up under here, blend out any lines. And I'm going to add a little bit extra coverage on both of my cheeks, because right here is where I tend to build redness throughout the day. So that is where I'm going to take just a dot more. And I'm going to try to do this super quickly since I am doing both sides, but since I don't have the whole side of the face to blend out, it's a little bit easier to do both sides at once for this, because all I'm doing is dotting and stippling it across my upper cheeks, which just adds the right amount of extra coverage for me. Now, to set everything, I'm going to go in with the e.l.f. translucent setting powder. I'm not going to use a whole lot because I'm not using, like I said, blush or bronzer, so I don't necessarily have to set down my like cheek and jaw, but I want to set down enough to where I'm not breaking up as quickly throughout the day. So I'm just putting some in the lid, I'm swirling it around, tapping some off back into the lid, and then I'm just going to set all over the face. And like I said, I'm not having to set down the cheeks right around this area because I'm not putting blush or bronzer on, but I'm still going to because I don't want it to break down prematurely. And then I'm just going to inspect, make sure everything looks good. And then I'm going to put the lid back on my powder, try to pour the excess back into there. I really need to get a new one that has the little sifter thing because mine is messy. Alright, now, of course, you know we're not going to skip highlighter. So this is one that I go back to time and time again. I know that it's going to be a little too glittery for probably a lot of people, but this is the AOA Studio Velour highlighter. This one is in the shade Toxic. And I'm going to take my ring finger. It is quite chunky at first. This one is because it's dried out. They're not usually like this. And I'm going to tap it down my cheek. I love these. Like, glitter or not, these make me feel good. And that's what this video is all about. Like, everyday stuff that I know I enjoy that makes me feel good. And these make me feel good. You can get different colors, and obviously when you first get them, they're not as dry and chunky, and it does create a quite a nice highlighter line, which again, I know is not everyone's cup of tea. So what I do to kind of help like remedy that is I take a similar-esque highlighter, which in this case is going to be the ColourPop Super Shock Cheek in Monster, which is a like pearlescent. And I take a brush, which normally doesn't work as well with these, rub it in, just trying to get some of the color. And then I'm going to take it and go over that to blend it into the skin just a bit. And then do the same thing with the other side. This is normally a highlighter that if I was using by itself, I would also use with my finger. But again, it can kind of help, not necessarily tone this down, but those edges that are looking a little harsh will help blend them into the skin without changing the color too much. Now, I know it might be kind of hard to find a highlighter that's exactly the right shade. I'm going to use this one down my nose because I don't exactly want glitter down my nose, but I do want a little bit of highlight right down there. And as you can see, I hope you can see, this has that same like pink purple reflect. Now, I'm going to go in with mascara. So for this, I'm going to be using the ColourPop BFF Volumizing Mascara in Black on Black. Yeah. And it's got a nice large wand. I know a lot of people have compared this to the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara, and I own them both. I don't necessarily think they're that different, but they're not the exact same. I find that this one is a much drier formula. So just depending on what you're looking for in a mascara would probably determine which one you would like better. But this one is also like half the price. Because I want to say the Too Faced mascara is like $24 or $26. I might be wrong. And then the ColourPop is like $12 or $14. So, I mean, it also depends on if you've got a little extra to splurge or if you're trying to save some money. I always get it on my eyelid, so I'm trying really hard not to this time around. Oh geez. Got it on the back of my hand somehow. Because, you know, that's my life. Some people get powder all over themselves. I get mascara all over myself. Totally normal. So it's definitely much darker on the bottom because I dipped back in. So I'm going to redo this side a little bit. And then redo the top lashes. Also, I'm sorry if you see my mirror shaking or if you could tell my hands are shaking a bit today. I obviously took a shower right before doing this, but I did an exercise this morning that just wore me out. And so all my muscles are kind of like, ugh. And that's the story of my shaky hands. No, but really, I was not prepared. I've been kind of slack this last week in doing the bare minimum, so this morning it just kicked my butt. But it was fun. Then I'm going to go in with the NYX Lingerie Liquid Lipstick, and I have this one in the shade Cashmere Silk. Oh, I'd hope if I had it the right way for y'all to read. I did wipe off some of that balm so that this can go on and dry down to the matte that it's supposed to be. I got it on my tooth. Aw. There we go. Did the same thing on the other side. What is wrong with me? Apparently, I don't know where my lips are. Alright, one final step. Setting spray. I love this setting spray, and I don't know why. The iconic London Prep Set Glow. Mine is in original. I love it so much. I love the smell. I love the way it looks. Just love everything about it. Yeah. And so that is my everyday makeup products that make me feel good. I do plan on doing a glam version of this, so stay tuned for that. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts down below, and subscribe to see more of my content. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!